Before we get started, massive thank you to everybody that interacted with yesterday's video. I was overwhelmed. I didn't expect that many people to watch it. Certainly didn't expect that many people to interact with it at all. So many wonderful comments on there. I took the laptop into the kitchen last night about 11 o'clock. I thought I'll sit down, I'll read the comments, and I'll start replying. And I was there for an hour, and I still hadn't got through them all, which I just think is incredible. So thank you very much. I'll discuss it more at the end of the video, but there's so many people who basically gave their own personal experiences and stuff like that. I think it warrants me talking about it, and sort of I've tried to reply to as many people as I could, and I'll go back on tonight and look at any more that I've missed. But yeah, thanks for interacting. Really appreciate it. And it was sort of overwhelming, the feedback that people wanted to interact more. People wanted to interact more in the chat, and but I think there's definitely an opinion that people don't want all the anger and all the nastiness that you get on social media. So we've already sorted out 2 moderators for the chat as well. Just so as you know, I'm not looking for an echo chamber here, right? If I don't know, let's say I want Vladimir Suval to get a new contract, and I say that in a video, and you don't. I want people to say, no, actually, Gonzo, I wouldn't give him a new deal. I think we should do X, Y, and Z. It's not that. It's the nastiness. It's the goading. It's the baiting. It's just the nastiness I'd like to cut out of it. And as somebody said to me, a couple of people said to me, I think, you'll have a better community as a result of it. So, look, thanks. I'll discuss a little bit more at the end of the video. But, yeah, really good yesterday. So thanks so much. Today, I want to talk about, I think, the pressure on Graham Potter. And I think I'm wondering if Graham Potter has sort of walked into West Ham and discovered that it's a far bigger job than maybe he thought it might have been. And there's a couple of reasons for that, really. I understand that talk of the stadium is probably quite boring, particularly if you live overseas and you don't go, and particularly the season ticket stuff. But what it can often do is it can often give an insight into the way West Ham fans are feeling at the moment. And there's 2 bits of news which have been really quite shocking. So the first one is that since we moved into the stadium in 2016, there were 50,000 what they call founder members, basically season ticket holders. 29,000 of them have left. That tells you quite a lot. It really does. Now, don't get me wrong. I think some of those might have left and rejoined, but in the main, there wouldn't have been that many of them. There's a lot of people who have grown dissatisfied with the stadium. So as I tried to mention yesterday, there is an opinion that people don't moan about the stadium when we're winning. That's not true. It's just it gets suffered. Maybe one day I'll do a video just to maybe show people that don't go to the stadium exactly what it's like walking from the station. So next to the station, there's a massive, great shopping centre, Westfield shopping centre. We're not welcome. West Ham fans are not welcome in there, which is a problem because Westfield shopping centre is sort of between the station and the stadium. I don't know how far it is to walk from the station to the stadium, but maybe it's half a mile. Let me know if I got that wrong, but it's not an easy walk. A lot of it's uphill, and you're stopped on several occasions. So there are basically 2 security searches. I'm not saying you shouldn't do your security. Doing your security is obviously an important thing, but they're not that important. I've been through there before, and I sometimes, because the food is so expensive right there, I sometimes take like sandwiches. I do. I take a packed lunch sometimes to the football, particularly if I've got the kids with me. And there's been times when I've basically had it wrapped up in tin foil or wrapped up in cling film, and I've gone there and let me check in the bag, and I'll just say, "Well, what's in there?" I'll say, "Oh, it's just my lunch." And, "Oh, I don't want to touch that." It's not what I'm saying. It's not a thorough search. It might as well not be there anyway, right? You go through 2 sets. You go through 2 sets of huge, massive queues. So it's a long day and it's a difficult day, and then when you get out, they stop you from leaving. There's these stop-go signs. They stop you from leaving. Stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. You can't just leave and go home. And I think you suffer it when we're winning. I think when you're not winning, when the football's a little bit crap, people tend to suffer it a lot. And it's definitely, I think it regularly gets voted the worst matchday experience in the Premier League. The reason I'm talking about it today is because Graham Potter, I think, has got a real challenge on his hands to try and inject a little bit of life back into there, because we've got season ticket renewals coming up. And I think they're going to be a record all-time low. We've already had all the concession ticketing scandals that have already happened. And I don't know. I don't know whether they're going to get better or whether they're not going to get better. But and I'm not going to rake over old ground for stuff that I've already spoken about on that, but what's happening with the ticketing in the stadium, and particularly with the concessions, is not good at all. Now we hear that the club are going to possibly look to do season ticket renewals early. I think they're going to get a hell of a shock. I think there seems to be so much apathy, there seems to be so much of a disconnect between West Ham fans and the club, that they got to try and get that back. And I just wonder how much of that frustration was underpinned for so long with David Moyes and with European football, and the fact that we had a pretty damn good 3 years, really, didn't we? And I think now there's a sort of stark reality, and you look at it and you think, how have Bournemouth and Brighton and Brentford, anyone else begins with B, how's that happened? How did they go from there and West Ham are here and now it's gone like that? Because it doesn't feel unjust. It doesn't feel like we should... Where are we? 16th in the league. It doesn't feel like that's false. It feels like 16th is precisely where we should be. I think Man United just above us. You look at that and think, okay, yeah, we are just maybe a little bit worse than Manchester United. And you look, everyone above us, I don't look at them and think we're a better team than them. I don't. If anything, I look down and I see the gap between Wolves and think they were unlucky at the weekend, right? But I look down at Wolves and I think, I do think we're the best of the rest of the non-relegated teams, and I think that's reflective, and I think that's a hard thing to look at as a West Ham fan, because this wasn't really where we were meant to be. But we got this situation where really it's a difficult one with the stadium, because the fans dislike the stadium. The stadium dislikes the club, really, doesn't it, as well? And you've got all these legal wrangles going on. And I just wonder if it's going to be some sort of weird old situation when it comes to renewal time. That I wonder if the club are going to be looking at it and thinking, what? How did that happen? Why is renewals at... I think if club get 93% renewals on season ticket, then that's fine, because normally the 7% will be taken up by new season ticket holders. I think there are a lot of when I say tourists in this, I think tourists is used as a word. I think it's maybe the wrong word, because I don't think there's anything wrong with. Put it this way: if I took a trip to Germany, right, I'd quite like to go and see a Dortmund game. So I think if I did that, I would be a tourist. I was on holiday in Germany. I wanted to go and just experience that massive, what do they call it, like the yellow wall or something, that massive stand they got at Dortmund. I would be a tourist. That would be a day out, right? I think that is happening at West Ham, because I think, yes, if you can get that tourism and that's the one game they could probably get tickets to, I don't necessarily think that's what's happening. I think it's people, I think there's two things. I think it's fans of opposition teams who find it easy to get a ticket, but I think it's almost people in this country that might fancy watching a Premier League game. They don't have any affinity towards West Ham, but West Ham are in London, so they're going to go to the London Stadium for the day. They might even do a little bit of shopping at Westfield. They're probably not going to be overly inconvenienced by the stuff that is going to inconvenience West Ham fans. It's probably part of the daily experience for them, the whole day sort of thing. And I think that's what's going on there. So I think ordinarily the club might find that missing 7% each season is taken up by those people, even if not season tickets, but the tickets get sold anyway. I'm not so sure that will happen. I'm not sure that really the outsiders are possibly looking in and thinking, actually, we'd quite like taking in a West Ham game. And I think for that reason that there's so much pressure now on Graham Potter to deliver something and deliver it quite quickly. We're obviously not doing the preview for the Arsenal game now. I'll be doing that with Gio, and that'll be along tomorrow, Friday, something like that. I don't think he's going to repeat the mistakes of Brentford, but we'll go into that there. But we need an uplift. West Ham fans need an uplift. Not only do the West Ham fans need an uplift, the team needs an uplift as well, and it needs to happen quite quickly. There's been some good news, some bad news, and some crap news actually in terms of West Ham. We'll get to that in a second. Before I do, can I please point in the direction of today's video sponsor, which, of course, is Surfshark. If you don't know what Surfshark is a VPN. I'll tell you something. I've got to tell you this now. I'm not making this up, right? I've been sort of hacked. Now, it's a weird thing. I've been signed up to a subscription for razor blades, which I didn't ever ask for. And it's been done via my email and via my Google account. And in the end, I actually contacted my bank this week, early Monday, something like that. Said, do you know what this is? And they said, oh, yeah, it's a basic like a little fraud that happens. And I said, how was it done? And they said, it's been done via your IP address. So there you go. That is personal experience of why you should be using a VPN. It wasn't like the biggest heist in the world, but they'd signed me up to this subscription for these, I think they were called Estril razor blades or something like that. They'd signed me up for this subscription, a £9.95 a month, every month. And you can see I don't use a razor blade, right? I think they might even been ladies' leg razor blades or something. I don't know. I thought it was a promotion. They first came through last month. This pack of 6 razor blades. I just thought it was a mistake. And then when I saw it this month, and I've checked it out, I'm paying for this stuff. And if you, so I've got. If you need a pack of ladies' razor blades, then let me know. I'll send them off to you. But anyway, my point is they clearly got my IP addresses somewhere. This is why you need a VPN. A VPN masks and stops all that stuff. Now, you're probably saying, well, hold on, mate, it didn't do you too well. Here's the issue, right? I basically, sometimes look, what you can do is you can change your geolocation on it. You can change where you are or where you're perceived to be in the world. I'd actually switched it off and I'd changed my device. I've gone from a Google, probably shouldn't say this. I've gone from a Samsung to a Pixel. I really wish I hadn't. Anyway, whatever. I'd changed all the stuff. I'd switched it off. Because I hadn't put it on the new device. Got done, obviously, right? VPN, the reason you need a VPN is it protects you from that sort of stuff. It encrypts your data. It encrypts where you are, encrypts your location, and it gives a layer of protection to all your devices. You only need just one subscription. And by the way, if you use the link in the description below, which is surfshark.com/HammersChat, or just go in and use HammersChat in the discount code, you get 4 months for free because you're a Hammers Chat viewer, basically, and 30-day money-back guarantee. I'll give you loads of reasons for doing it, but I can't really find a better one than the one I've just used. Stop yourself getting hacked. It's amazing. I think everyone always thinks, hold on, someone's going to come and they're going to empty me back. To be fair, that was pretty much empty me back out, but you know what I mean? They're going to sort of take everything I own. But yeah, sneaky little rascals. Anyway, there you go. That's that. Well, what was I talking about? Okay, just want to give you some injury news, actually. So Paqueta rolled his ankle in training. He's got a scan either later today or tomorrow. Could be out for a month, but it might be nothing at all. I'm going to talk about this more when we do the preview, me and Gio. But it's. Yeah, I think that's a bit of an issue. I know he was crap in the first half against Brentford, but I do think that was the tactics rather than anything else. I think in the second half, I thought he was the club's best performer, the team's best performer in the second half, and he moved into midfield. And I'm quite certain that Potter would have done that in the Arsenal game. I think he'd probably likely to start Ferguson. He would have deployed Paqueta further back. Actually, I was going to talk about Carlos Slet. I think we'll do that tomorrow. I can't believe it. Have you seen how much wages he wants to join West Ham? Anyway, we'll deal with that tomorrow. So Paqueta could be missing. I think that's a bit crap. But the good news is Füllkrug is back from Dubai. And what was he doing in Dubai? He was doing rehab in Dubai alongside Mikel Antonio. He wasn't due to be back until April. It looks like he could be back for the Everton game, which is... I think we've only got 2 games in March. Everton's one of them. I think it's in 3 or 4 games' time, the Everton game. I know we spoke about Moyes a little bit yesterday, right? I don't think I can. I don't think I can handle losing to Everton and losing to David Moyes. I think you talk about the phone. Never mind VPN. My phone will be switched off, right? If we lose to Everton, as he was at it again, Richard Keys, and I was talking about sort of like yesterday, West Ham fans who wanted to keep Moyes. Every time Moyes does well, they basically post Everton's victories and Moyes celebrating to goad fellow West Ham fans. What I talked about yesterday. That's bad enough. but all the media do it as well, you know. So there's a lot of people, led by Richard Keys, Paul Mercer, and Chris Sutton, all these people. They are the be careful what you wish for brigade. My goodness, right? There. I'm not going to repeat everything I said yesterday on the stuff about Moyes, but I don't think I could. I don't think I could bear it. I don't think I could bear the "I told you so"s and the finger wagging. If Everton beat West Ham, so. Fulkrug being back for that is good news. It's just extra players. It's a shame. It's a shame Somerville's not bad for that. Do you know what? The longer the time goes on, the more important Somerville has become. Maybe it's just in my mind, but it's amazing, isn't it? Somebody that wasn't used, wasn't fancied under Lopetegui. Even when he played well, he didn't stay in the team. He's played 45 minutes under Graham Potter, and he already, in my mind, he seems like a main player. I have to tell you, if he was fit, I would start him ahead of Mohamed Kudus against Arsenal. I've been not been massively impressed with Kudus. We'll talk about that another time. I don't want to. I took up 40 minutes of your time yesterday, so yeah. But anyway, I was going to apologise for that. Someone said don't apologise, so I won't apologise for that at all. Mikel Antonio's doing really, really well. Mikel Antonio is apparently well ahead of schedule. He's going to come back. Heard from the club yesterday, and the club said they expect him to play some minutes this season, which is miraculous. I mean, just for him to. Look, we all feared the worst, didn't we? When we saw the pictures of that crash at the time. I did. I remember sitting there. I remember phoning Gio and speaking to a few people, and then thinking this is sort of really held fire on. Didn't want to put a post out there. Didn't want to do a video. Didn't want to do anything. Didn't want to do a blog. Because I was expecting the worst, and you think, this is terrible. What are you going to do? I didn't know. I didn't know if you saw the pictures of the car. The car was crushed. You're thinking, is he in there with kids in there with him? It was horrendous. So for him just to even be back home for Christmas was brilliant. But I wasn't the only one that thought he ain't playing again. So for him to be in the gym and for him to be coming back and thinking, I'll play this season, amazing. I mean, amazing. I honestly. So yeah, he wants to get back for fitness. So we got a year's option on his contract. So as we exercise that year's option, good on him. I mean, honestly, really, really good on him. That's a really, really good news story. Vladimir Coufal's injured. Might not be the worst news in the world, but stops his options, doesn't it? With Mavropanos being a little bit sketchy. Well, a little bit sketchy. He's dodgy, very calamitous, isn't he, at the moment? Thought he was better. To be fair, I thought he was better against Brentford, but. He's always going to have a mistake. He's always going to make a mistake. I don't know if you saw it in the Brentford game. He basically crashed. We were in attack at the time. He just crashed into this into one of the Brentford players. He is like a bull in a china shop. He's like Zippy. He's like me puppy who's grown really big now. So I keep promising I will. He's actually gone for a walk today. So we've got a dog walker. Just to socialise him and get him used to other dogs. So he's on his first, right now as I'm recording this, he's on his first walk. Not ever, but on his first walk with a dog walker. So I'm a bit nervous about that. But because he's grown big, but he's still puppy, coordination's there. So he's all legs and clumsiness and he'd turn around. He still thinks he's that big, but he's not. He's huge. So he'll turn around and hit the door frame or he'll like walk into stuff and... And he's a bit like Konstantinos Mavropanos, actually, like that. Anyway, so Coufal being out creates a little bit of an issue, doesn't it, there, really? Because I know Tadebo's back, but it's a little mini injury crisis, really, for West Ham. Arsenal's is worse. We'll deal with that in the preview. Just before I go, I just want to just talk about a few things about yesterday's video, which I wanted to leave until the end. I was blown away by the response, by the way. Absolutely blown away by it. And there was a lot of people who shared their personal stories as well on there. And, it's amazing. It's amazing to do that. And some people have had some really, really hard times. Someone on there has sort of lost the ability to have contact with his children. It was somebody was mentioning that they'd had a stroke, 2 strokes, and on one of them they couldn't move, and they were lying on his side for 5 days. It's like horrendous stuff, and I didn't do the video so as people opened up and stuff like that. I really didn't, but I'm touched that you did. You know, I absolutely. So, you know, I think we'll do something, because I opened up about my own mental health as well, which I've done on a couple of times. I almost feel a little bit fraudulent talking about it, because I'm not an expert on it. It's just stuff that's happened to me. But the more I have done, the more I've become aware that I think there's a lot of people that watch this stuff that do want to talk about it. So we'll do something. We'll do something going forward. I'm no expert, and it would be irresponsible of me to give anyone any advice on any of this stuff. You know, you've got to speak to professional people about this stuff, haven't you? But I can certainly share my own experiences of it. I've got an appointment. I've got an assessment. I'm going for an ADHD assessment at the moment, and which I've never been one for labels. Has to be said, I've never been one for labels. But the older I get, the more I think actually a diagnosis would probably help me to understand why my mind goes off in certain directions, why I'm like a roller coaster, you know, in moods and emotions sometimes and stuff like that. So yeah, I've got stuff going on myself, but it was some really interesting, heartfelt stuff yesterday. In terms of the sort of the clearing up of the so half of the video yesterday, I really wanted to say that I'd had enough. I was done explaining myself and caveating everything. So many people got back to me and said, yeah, we'd got annoyed that you were doing it. I'm not surprised. And it annoyed it, but all I would say is I didn't notice it sort of happened incrementally that I was doing it. And then I got to the point where I was saying, well, you have to do it. And now I've got to the point where actually I'm sick of doing it. I'm sick of explaining myself every time I've got a football opinion. So, that was that. The other half of it was about the trolling. The second half wasn't particularly about me. It was about what I've seen happen to other West Ham fans online, particularly with people using either the stadium or David Moyes to have a go at other West Ham fans. I didn't like it, and I thought I just wanted to make sure. I can't control that, but I can control what happens here. So there were just so many brilliant messages yesterday, and it was quite clear. I heard what you were saying. It was quite clear what you wanted and quite clear what you didn't want. So I've taken that on board. And in many respects, yesterday's video was a really, really good filter. Because even though I'd done the video and I'd even said I've been struggling with mental health, there were still 3 people that were quite nasty yesterday. And I just think, well, that was good, because I was able to. They revealed themselves. Do you know what I mean? So I don't want to interact with those people anymore. And I mean, there was one in particular who said, I'm going to start up a YouTube channel just to deal with all the contradictions Gonzo's made in this video. I think firstly, right, on that, obviously I've muted him, he's blocked, and I won't hear from him again, and unless he goes to the trouble of creating a new email address, a new IP address, and he's that determined. But I can't do anything when someone's got that much hatred in them, you know. And he said, I'm going to do a video. I'm going to expose Gonzo's contradictions, and I'm going to start up my own YouTube channel. I think firstly, I will always contradict myself. I'm only human after all, as the song goes. I will contradict myself. I will change my mind. I will do all these things. But I found it quite odd when I said that actually, I was struggling a little bit with mental health and stuff like that. That someone would choose that and think, I'm going to go at him now. And I thought, well, that's quite telling. So as a filter, it's quite good to think, right, okay, this is probably not someone. I read those comments yesterday and I thought, there's so many people here who I would interact with on everyday life. And someone said, I don't know you, but I'm watching for years, I feel like I know you. And then when I explained a load of stuff that was going on in their lives, and I thought, well, no, I looked at that, I thought, no, you could just tell I would get on with this person, do you know what I mean? But the opposite is also true, so it points out, and you think, I would never sit down, if I was walking a dog and I bumped into this person, we'd never have a conversation. We'd never have a conversation in a pub. It's very, very difficult. Do you know what I mean? When with that, so it was just. I thought it was really revealing yesterday. With so many people shared so much of their stuff, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So yeah, we'll refine it. We'll tune it up. And some people are asking you. Look, I haven't not shown you Zippy for any reason like that. It has just been so muddy out there. It's hard to bring him in here, and then what happens is, once I bring him in, if I then put him outside, it'll sit there biting and barking, right? But I will do that. There's no sinister reason for me not showing you Zippy. I've not done the talking chat to the chat GPT. In all honesty, I'd sort of forgotten. Just trying to think what else was mentioned. I will do it. I love doing these videos for silliness, and there was a few people that said you looked like you'd stopped enjoying yourself. The truth of the matter is I had, and so I want to try and get that back. I want to just try and almost treat these videos more organically as more of a conversation piece. Of course, I got always going to have to do the adverts and do all that stuff as well, and cover the stuff that's actually happening. But yeah, as I say, I think that the me saying before I explain why Konstantinos Mavropanos has had a bad game, let me just say that I think he's a good guy. I'm not saying anything personal about him. I'm not accusing him of robbing anyone. I'm not saying he's horrible to his nan, or I'm going to stop doing that. And I just, and the same thing, I'm certainly not going to be doing any more. Oh, this is just a review of the game. It's obvious if it's immediately after the game. So, I just don't need to do it. You don't need to hear it. And the vast majority, and I think that's the point. I think I'd started pandering, as I mentioned, to the 2 or 3%. Like I said, there were 3 people that were quite nasty yesterday in the comments. They've gone. It's almost like I'd started making videos to try and appeal to them. Well, you can't. They don't like me. I won't be the only person they don't like. There's probably a lot of stuff going on there. I can't win them over. But what was evident was the number of people, and I always struggle with this. I've got to say, some people say, that they tune into the video, they enjoy doing the video, so it's an important part of their daily routine. That I struggle with, right? And I don't mean I struggle with the responsibility of it. It's hard to believe it. Does that make any sense? As I never intended on doing this for a job. There was never any point where we started doing videos. Well, one day 10,000 people are watching a video. That was never due. So I don't think I ever equated it in my mind. And I go back. There was a point. It was years ago now, and I think this is when I started to realise it. And if it was you who did it, I've mentioned it a few times, and it was on social media. And someone took a picture of themselves, and they were sat on their sofa. They had like a little coffee table, and they had like a couple of cans of beer and a Chinese takeaway, right? And so you could see their feet was up on the sofa, right? The Chinese takeaway and the beer was there, and in the background there was a Hammers Chat video, and it was paused. And somebody had said, just getting ready for my evening's entertainment. I got me Chinese, I got me beer. It might have been a cup of tea or whatever. Here to watch Hammers Chat and watch a cup of tea with Gio and Gonzo. And I phoned Gio up. I said, have you seen this? He went, what? And I said, someone's choosing to spend their evening watching us. And I was amazed. I was amazed by it. And I still am. So I still, and I still can't quite get my head around it, believe it or not, after we started doing videos 2015, all that time, I still can't quite get my head around it. So, so I appreciate it. I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to strive to be better and do better. People keep saying, just be yourself. There must have been 100, 200 messages yesterday, people saying, just be yourself. I promise you, I will be. And I will not pander to people that don't need it. And I will make sure, as I mentioned at the start of the video, I don't want to stop conversation. I don't want to stop debate. I don't want to interact with mean people at all. And I don't want you guys to have to deal with mean people either. It was quite evident that reading through the comments, there's a lot of people got a lot of stuff going on with their lives. You don't need shit thrown at you when you go onto YouTube to a West Ham video. You just don't need it. You don't. I don't think, I've mentioned it yesterday, I could talk about this stuff for hours. I'm going to go in a minute. I don't think we're programmed for it. I don't think the human brain is programmed for the modern way and social media and stuff like that. I don't think it is. I think I think it is, it's difficult. But I don't think it's difficult to be pleasant. I don't think it is. So, there we go. So, anyway, if I've made mistakes, I apologise. If I've contradicted myself, I don't really. It's going to happen because I often change my mind. But by and large, I just want to create this on here and in the chat to be a community that enjoys it and interacts with each other. And it doesn't matter if we both want a different striker to play up front. It doesn't matter if one of us likes 3-5-2 and the other one likes 4-4-2. You're never going to see either of those formations, by the way. And that stuff doesn't matter. We can have a conversation about it. We can have a debate about it without trolling, without the keyboard warrior stuff. So I've got a couple of moderators already, and yeah, I'll probably grab another one in there as well, and just hopefully you think that this is a decent place to interact. Thanks for watching, everyone. There you go. Anyway, that's what I think about the stadium. Graham Potter, big pressure on Graham Potter. I will catch up with you tomorrow.